Hi everybody, this is your host James, and we have a super exciting newscast for you today. It looks like the mythical red alloy from the legend of Atlantis has turned up on the coast of Sicily. Marine archaeologists have found some 39 ingots of what's called orichalcum off the coastal town of Gela. They were discovered on the sandy seafloor in a shipwreck under 10 feet of water. The experts say that the mythical metal that Plato claimed was from Atlantis is what these ingots are. The analysis has actually shown that they are an alloy of copper, zinc, lead, iron and nickel in a very precise mix. The shipwreck is itself 2,600 years old, most likely a cargo vessel from the Greek islands. Researchers believe it was sunk in a storm just 1,000 feet from the shore. So shallow water and 1,000 feet from the shore. This is actually the fifth ancient ship to be recovered from the coast of the town. Professor Tussa has remarked that they knew of orichalcum from ancient texts and a few ornamental objects. The shipwreck dates to the first half of the 6th century. Again, this metal discovered by Professor Tussa and his team, they are calling it orichalcum. It definitely lends credence to the descriptions by Plato, and it also lends credence to Atlantis being a real place as a byproduct of this discovery. Again, Plato writing in 330 BC, the Crete, it's the shipwreck 300 years before this. Seems to be a nice tie-in. If this is orichalcum, if this is the red mythical metal referred to in the ancient texts, then it's not only in the locale of Plato, but it's also in the locale of the legendary city of Atlantis, being the Mediterranean basin. There are many locations for Atlantis around the globe, many hypotheses, but this kind of brings it back to the Mediterranean, if this is true. I think the point worth noting is that orichalcum, mentioned in not just Atlantis in the Cretaceous dialogue by Plato, but it was mentioned in several ancient texts. The 7th century BC by Hesiod, that was the Homeric hymn dedicated to Aphrodite, and that was the 630s BC. Of course, again, the Cretaceous by Plato. He says the 3 outer walls of the temple to Poseidon and Cleito on Atlantis, they were clad in brass, tin, and the third was encompassed with the whole citadel, quotes, flashed with the red light of orichalcum, this mythical ore stroke metal. The interior walls, pillars and floors of the temple were completely covered in orichalcum, and the roof was covered in gold, silver and orichalcum. It seems to be quite a prized ore, second only to gold in value, and it was found and mined in many parts of Atlantis. So it seems to be referred to as an ore that was mined and then refined into a metal alloy. Probably just melting down a natural ore, the naturally occurring bronze alloy. There seems to be golden coloured bronze alloy. The Romans themselves referred to orichalcum as well. When they transliterated orichalcum, they referred to it as gold, copper, but its actual Greek name, Oris and Kalkos, means mountain of copper, copper mountain or mountain of copper, most likely to do from the source that it was mined at. Incredibly interesting though that this stuff has turned up. You know, it's incredibly interesting for its location, being in the Mediterranean, and incredibly interesting the time frame that it's located to as well. It kind of lends credence to the silver mines proposed by Peter Daughtry in his Atlantis and the Silver City, locating Atlantis as southern Portugal. Wonderful theory. It's the only one that hits the number of points, the number of clues in the Cretaceous and the Timaeus dialogue of Plato. But again, was the orichalcum an ore? Was it mined locally? All roads seem to head to this conclusion at the moment. What we do know, though, is that this stuff is incredibly precise mix. The ingots themselves were analysed with X-ray fluorescence. They've done their homework by Dario Panetta, and he has discovered that the alloy is made up of 70 to 80% copper, 15 to 20% zinc, and then there's small traces of lead, iron and nickel. Most likely this seems to be an ore that has been smelted down into metal ingots. Again, this then tells you that Gala was, this port was looking like a metallurgical centre. The Mediterranean basin has been known for turning up ingots in ships, so this seemed to be a prized ore. When you read the Atlantean sagas by Plato, but fascinating that this stuff is located there. Fascinating that there's at least 39 ingots, all showing this previously unprecedented metal. The only thing we ever had was a few small artifacts, if that, and now we have 39 ingots. Totally fascinating. This does bring the notion of Atlantis back into the Mediterranean basin, at least in terms of a tie-in local research or local findings, and the alloy's existence has long been debated, in legend at least. So that bit seems to have cleared up. It was said to have been mined in Atlantis. So we're finding ingots on a ship. We're not finding the source of the ore. Some people believe that there was so much of this ore mined to cover Poseidon's temple that the source would have been found by now. Enrico Matijevich, a former physics professor, he's located at Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. He actually believes that it's the Chavin civilization where this metal originates, and they were developed in the Peruvian Andes in around 1200 BC. So again, 600 years previous to the shipwreck. Most likely it could have had a Peruvian source, then shipped and mined out of there. I'm open to all suggestions at this stage, but I think the most point worth noting is the vindication of orichalcum itself, that it does exist. It's there, it's in existence, it's in the time frame of reference, where people were able to see it, have their hands on it, and write about it. Although it was a mere footnote by Plato's time, it was out of existence. It was the source being mined to exhaustion, or hard to know at this point. But great to see this stuff turned up in Gala off the coast of Sicily. Other examples of orichalcum that we know of from literature, mentioned in the Antiquities of the Jews by Josephus, and he states that the vessels in the Temple of Solomon were made of orichalcum, this bronze that was like a gold in beauty. They seem to always refer to this as an articulate shine, or a beautifully described reflection of a gold tint or tinge to it. But Pliny the Elder, he also points out that the metal was lost. It was a lost currency due to the mines being exhausted, so we get that from him. Pseudo-Aristotle, he describes orichalcum as a shining metal obtained during the smelting of copper with the addition of calmia. And that was a kind of earth formerly found on the shores of the Black Sea. So we have a different location for the mining of, or the mixture or smelting process there. There was certain coins, gold-coloured bronze coins, used by the Romans, the Sartessos and the Dupondus coins, and they were supposedly orichalcum. Whatever we know is that orichalcum ran out. Orichalcum was either exhausted or no longer imported. The only thing we can tell is that this ship off the coast of Sicily was trading this metallic ore as ingots. So it may not even be in the Mediterranean basin at all as a source. But there we go, folks. There's your newscasts. Orichalcum, the legendary metal alloy of Atlantis.